I'm Andy Smith. As you can see there, I live here in Central Ohio, and I'm excited to talk to you today about an incremental enhancement in Acumatica's file management system. Now, on the surface, that sounds maybe a little dull, but we have a number of customers that Algorithm works with who are sometimes struggling or a little frustrated with how to best manage files. And what does that mean? Picture yourself maybe a customer service role in an organization, and you have a lot of your core business data inside of Acumatica, vendors, customers, items, what have you, transactions, et cetera. And Acumatica has some, and has for a long time, had some ways to attach or store files and documents against those records. But sometimes it left a little to be desired. For example, if I'm a manufacturer and I'm selling items to my customers, I'm trying to enter orders or do research to answer questions for customers, I could go to, let's say, an item that we're selling and look at a list of files. But if there were a large number of files there, it was hard to kind of tell what was what. And we'll take a look at this in a minute, but 26R1 gives us some added capability in this area. As the slide mentions here, it does build on a new feature that was introduced in 2025 R2, but that was specific just to folks using project management. So if I had project-related documents, I had some feature set that was not across the rest of the system, and now that's been at least partially expanded. I do want to mention that there are other options that our customers are looking at with Algorithm's assistance, and let's talk a little bit about those. Get down a page here. The first bullet there I already mentioned, the project documents, but there are some what we call ISVs or third-party integrations available with Acumatica around file management. They do typically offer a little bit of a stronger feature set in terms of workflow or OCR or categorization, things like that. Also, they don't consume Acumatica's storage space. However, the documents or files themselves are not hosted directly in Acumatica. So again, in my customer service example, if I'm sitting there in Acumatica and I want to go look at these files, I don't necessarily have to have another application open to start with. They give me a button on, let's say, the item screen in Acumatica. I click it, it opens up this integrated solution and shows me the files and documents, allows me to manage them, et cetera. So it's still an outside application. It's not quite as rough as like a share folder or a SharePoint kind of thing where I would have to have all that open to start with. But you still have to, from a company management standpoint, you still have to have two licenses. And obviously, as I mentioned there in the bullet, there's a cost associated with that. So again, I'm going to show you what 2026 R1 offers right in Acumatica, but also be aware that there are some additional options should you need more feature set. All right, so here we are now inside of my 2026 R1 system. And just very briefly to show you how easy this new feature is to set up. And as the intro slide said, Acumatica's categorization capability here relies on what are called tags. And you can see here I'm in a system screen, so this would be an admin function where it's called file tags, and I have a list of existing tags that I can then associate with files or documents that I'm uploading to Acumatica. In addition to maintaining this list, you can see there's also an access rights capability, which is really nice because let's say I have a manufacturer in Long Island who maybe has a certain level of drawings for their items that their customer service reps can look at and send to customers. But then there's another level that only the engineers and the production associates should be looking at. This way, we can have all those stored against the item in Acumatica and use Acumatica's built-in access rights to control who can see and manage those. So you can see here, I've got my executive analysis tag set up, and notice I'm logged in as an admin today. I've got the system admin role, and it's revoked for that role and or for that tag. And you'll see later on that I don't have access to that particular tag. I also have this one called a spec sheet. And you can see here my administrator role does have rights to that. So just keep that in mind. But I'm going to add a new one just to show you how simple it is. And I'm going to call it customer drawing. And just give it the same description. And grant myself rights. and save. Now it's super simplified. Normally I'd want to go through and assign the right rights to the right people, but you get the idea just in terms of the demonstration here. All right, so now I have that saved into my file tags list. And let's see how a user would interact with that. So I'm going to use the example of a stock item here in Acumatica. I love my Lego item. And if I look here in the upper right, that's that same files button that everybody's used to. It's been there for a long time. And I click and I can see my files pop-up menu here. But you can notice there's a new column that wasn't there before 2026 R1 called tags. And let's see how that works. If I go to my my list of files, oops, missed it. Go to my list of files, I can drag and drop a file onto that list. It drops it right in there, just like it normally would. And now, though, I can come over to my tags list, and you can see I have access to those tags. Notice the executive one that I was not granted rights for is not available there, so I can't use that. But I can pick my customer drawing tag. I could add another tag to the same file if it maybe had two tags that it needed. And I just tab off to save that. Pretty simple. Just to prove the point, I can click Upload Files just as easily and maybe grab a different kind of document, a spec sheet, and tag it the same way. Super easy. So from an upload standpoint, that's all it really takes. And then from a user standpoint, if I'm, again, the customer service rep or whoever else needs access to these, if I come to my stock item, I can click on the files button there, and I'm going to see this. Before, I only had access to the file name and the comment, which was kind of clumsy for trying to access a large number of files. But now I can easily see, oh, here's my spec sheet, and I can come here and open that or do whatever else I need to do with it. So pretty straightforward. So that's just kind of the basics of this new feature. Again, it's not brand new. It's an incremental improvement. I would like to see them build a little bit more on this maybe as they continue to enhance this, kind of like Kristen and Stephanie were talking about. It's nice to see them add new features as we go forward. One thing I'd like to see is on this screen maybe a way to group them by category or by tag. So if I have 10 spec sheets, I don't have to see a list of those. I could easily drill into that. Also, I'd love to see maybe a preview here, so I don't have to maybe open up the entire document to look at it, or maybe I'm dreaming, but it'd be great maybe to have a side panel kind of concept over here for the files, because those are super nice. A lot of our customers like those as well. So again, just a quick glance at how a user might manage and or consume those files. But what if I'm maybe at the admin level and I want to go look at all of a certain kind of file that I've got stored in my system? So as a last stop here, we'll look at this Acumatica Search in Files screen, which has been there for a long time. It's got some limited use cases, in my opinion. But with this new file management capability, we have these tags, this tag field here that I can use. And let's say, oh, I want to see all my spec sheets that are in Acumatica. I click that. It filters all of the files in my system just for the ones that are tagged like that. And now I can perform some actions based on those. So just a handy type of admin feature. So to recap, Acumatica in 26R1 has added this tag file management capability. I think a lot of you might get some use out of it. And it's really easy to set up and turn on. If you have any questions about that, we'd love to assist you with it. Feel free to reach out to us here.